Welcome to 2025, my friends. Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a blessed and wonderful holiday season filled with love and connection and hopefully some stillness and much needed rest and reprieve. New Year's is probably my favorite holiday, not because I like to party hardy anymore, but because of the resolution. And I know some people think that's kind of cliche or they don't like to do them or whatever, and that's cool. But for me, I love setting intentions for the new year. I love fresh starts. I love going through the portal into a new year of life. It's a blessing to have a new year of life. And I think we can always transform and reinvent ourselves in every moment, but syncing in with the cycles of nature and the cosmos, I think is a really powerful thing to do. So I am going to share my intentions. I like the word intention over resolution. It's really just semantics, but it resonates more for me. So you can use whatever word you like, but I'm going to share my intentions for 2025 that I want to solidify into my life. And just as a caveat to that, I think this is why some people have an aversion to resolutions / intentions or whatever you want to call them, is sometimes if they don't live up to them or are not able to obtain them, they feel a sense of failure. And so they kind of fall off the wagon, so to speak. And oftentimes it is with quitting something or giving something up or starting something, and maybe it's a little too ambitious for them or they're just not quite ready for that. And they don't like the sense of failure that comes in tandem with that. And to that, I would say I totally understand, but not necessarily lower the bar for yourself, but set things that are within maybe more of a reach for yourself. And also, if you get to a point where you quote unquote fail, well, don't just give up entirely. Say, okay, I've hit a wall with this, but that doesn't mean the year is shot and you failed. You can try again tomorrow, try again in the next minute. We can, as I said, we can always reinvent ourselves in every moment, in every skosh of a moment, and every day you can be a new you if you hold strong to your ambition and your intention and what's in your heart. So I'm going to share my intentions with you today, and maybe it'll spark some inspiration for some intentions you'd perhaps like to start in your life and see where inspiration can grow for this year. So let's get into it. Numero uno. This one is lofty and ambitious, not in a change the world kind of way, but in a, let's call this a straight addiction kind of way. I want to keep my phone time to 30 minutes a day, my screen time on my phone at 30 minutes a day. Maybe some people watching are saying, oh, that's no big deal. I'm already at that. And if so, my hat's off to you. But in the day and age of the smartphone, the iPhone, or I don't even know the other brands, but there's like two, right? Like Samsung or something, or Google's phone, whatever. In the day and age of the smartphone, I would say most people that have one, well, most people, first of all, do have one. And for those that do have one, I would say most people are just flat out addicted. It is constantly in people's hands. You're constantly scrolling. And even if you're not blasting through social media, you're answering emails for work. And if you're not doing that, then you're texting your friend groups, or you're looking up something on Pinterest, or you're buying something, or you're going through YouTube, or there are infinite ways for your phone to be an incredible source of distraction. And one, just the screen time, like the actual physicality of what that light is doing to your eyes and your circadian rhythm is not good, but just the habit on a physiological level of the dopamine and serotonin that's pumping through your body as well when you're getting that like, when you're getting that next little article to come in, or like scrolling for the next video or buying that thing, whatever. That level of addiction pumping through your body is not a good thing either. And on the biggest level, it's, yes, I mean, here I am on YouTube talking about this, and there is a certain level of connection that can happen on a greater scale. Like, people are watching this from many different countries right now, and that is amazing. And it is a tool to provide information, and that is good. But I think on an overwhelming level, it is still disconnecting people from reality, disconnecting from true connection and love, disconnecting from true grounding and nature, and just the amount of detriment it has on your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, whether it's social media addiction or just doom scrolling or just buying things nonstop or just living in a two-dimensional world that is separate from this amazing time and place that we have, and each moment we have will never happen again. And I think when you're spending life through a screen, you are really missing the depth and the beauty of what life has to actually offer. And even though I've put out many videos about how I've decluttered my digital consumption drastically, I'm not on my phone that much at all. The only social media I have is this platform, hello. And I really don't consume that much YouTube at all. It still will creep back up every once in a while. Nothing like it used to be back in the day, but if anyone's ever looked at your screen time in your settings, it can be horrifying. There can be days where I really didn't feel like, yeah, I didn't really watch too much YouTube, but maybe it was one YouTube video and then I was filming myself and getting back to comments and then texting my best friend and texting my sister and then looking up a plane ticket or something online. It can still add up to like 4 hours some day. And to me, that's disgusting. That's horrifying. I do not want to spend my life through a screen. I don't want to disconnect from the beauty of what life is. I think so many of us are missing it, and there's just no off, and it just is this steamroller down a hill of just people getting more pulled and pulled and pulled into the matrix. And that's not how I want to live. If you feel great living through a screen 8 hours a day and you don't feel like it's adding problems to your life, okay, you do you. But for me personally, I do not want to be living through a screen. So I'm going to have to be extremely stringent to keep that 30-minute marker. That will mean a few things. One, I am going to stop consuming YouTube 100%. I will still be here because this is, for me, a passion project, and I'm spreading a message that I hope, or I've gotten some feedback at least, that is adding value to people's lives. So I get the irony of that, of me saying cut back on social media, but here I am on it. But it's, again, to spread a message that I think is helping people, and take it with a grain of salt. If you find yourself consuming too many of my videos, then maybe take a step back. But everyone's on their own journey, and I get that. And there's going to be ebbs and flows in your life of where it really is helpful because you're in a state of learning or healing or growth or whatever, to have more content consumption because it really is adding value to your life. I get that. I've been there. But for me, where I'm at now, I just don't want to be consuming anything online at all. I want to spend my time creating. I want to be a creator, not a consumer. And it's so blatantly obvious every time I take like a really stringent stimulant fast. I sleep better, I feel better, and my creativity goes through the roof. So in order to hit this 30-minute mark, it's going to be no YouTube consumption. As I said, I don't have any other social media platforms, but also just no looking stuff up online or just random things that you can get down a wormhole into. Obviously, there's basic internet functions that I'll need to, like, say, buy a plane ticket or pay a bill online or check a work email. That will still all happen. And but as far as internet for entertainment, it really is just not going to be a thing in my life anymore. And the other thing that I'm going to have to pull back on to hit that 30-minute mark is texting. And again, texting like people that you love that you don't get to see. Yes, it's helpful to maintain a connection, but for me, I would rather just talk to those people on the phone, go a little bit more old school. It's always a better connection to have the real-time voice anyway. And a lot of times when you are texting, you'll realize it's not life or death what you're actually texting about, and that could be saved for a more potent and deeper conversation. Because when you're in texting, that can add up, and before you know it, you've been staring at a screen for 45 minutes having a conversation that maybe really wasn't even that important of a conversation. So I'm going to be cutting back on that as well. Those are sort of the two major time sucks. Obviously, when I'm filming a video, my videos tend to be 20 to 30 minutes long. So there's the screen time right there because I'm filming on my phone. And that's the caveat to this. Again, it's about progress, not perfection. If I say hit a day where, oh no, I got an hour and a half of screen time, that doesn't mean I'm going to give it up and just say, well, I'm going to have however much screen time I want now because I failed my New Year's resolution. No, it's okay. This day was less than ideal, but tomorrow is a new day, and keep standing in your principles and your intentions. So that is numero uno, 30-minute screen of a day cap of screen time on my phone. Let me know if that interests you in the comments, if that's something you'd want to try as well. Number 2, kind of lofty as well, but in comparison to number 1, this shouldn't be too hard for me. I want to make this a complete no-buy year. No-buy meaning no buying of things that are not essential. Obviously, I'm going to need to get gas, and I'm going to need to get some food. I'm going to need to pay my electric bill or whatever. Those are all functional human adult things that we all have to do. But as far as buying something that is 100% non-essential in my life, I'm just not going to do it this year. I already purchased very few things last year, but there were a couple new like wardrobe items that came in, a couple new household things because I moved into a new apartment that was a totally different space. It was very limited, but this year I want to see if I can do it nothing at all. And again, when things come up, sometimes there's extenuating life circumstances that come up. And so if something shows up, say where I absolutely like, oh shoot, I really kind of could use this thing, but it's not life or death, but I purchase it anyway. That doesn't mean I'm going to throw this, well, I screwed up, now I can just buy whatever I want through this year because my resolution's screwed. No, again, tomorrow's always a new day. So I will just do my very best with it. And of course, always thrifting is a great option too. If I do need to get something, I will see if I can thrift it first. So that is the second intention. Let's make it a no-buy year. Let me know if you think you want to try a no-buy year as well. Number 3, more travel. I've got a leaf blower coming on. It's probably going to get a little bit loud, but we're just going to keep going with this. More travel. 2 things. I have a sweet little baby nephew on the eastern side of the United States. I want to get to see him more because they grow so fast, and it breaks my heart that I've not been able to see him very much. So I absolutely want to get some good time chunks in with him. And then number 2 goal, these are very tactile. I don't think I'm using that right. Just tangible. Whoops. Sort of black and white goals is I want to leave the United States. I want to leave the country. I've not left the country in a very long time now, like almost 10 years, I think. So it is time. I just got my passport renewed. I'm very excited about that. And I don't know exactly which country will be first. It's going to depend on some other things that I'm actually about to mention. But definitely want to at least once leave the country and go voyage and go see a new place. Number 4. This is the biggie. Drum roll. I am going to declutter my job. It is time to get out of the restaurant business. I've shared a lot of positive things about it, and it has given a lot of positivity in my life as far as freedom, as far as making decent money for the amount of hours that I'm working, as far as working for a great company, as far as being able to be physical, as far as being able to work with awesome people. That has all been great, but I am done working in restaurants. There are a lot of, I hate the word negative because that sounds whiny and complainy, but there's a lot of things that I just am ready to be done with. The stressor of it, the chaos of it, the difficult interactions with guests and sort of catering to poor behaviors that you have to cater to. If anyone's worked in restaurants, you know the jam on it. And just on a value level, on a bigger level, besides the chaos and the sort of negative interactions that you can have on a daily basis, even the days that are fun and that are great and whatever, I am ready to just be doing something bigger and better in my life that is much more in alignment with my values. A lot of you have asked, like, how come you're sober but you work as a bartender? Well, to give you a very quick executive summary of how I ended up in that, it really was always to support my career as an artist. I was a performing artist in Las Vegas for a long time in a Cirque du Soleil style show, and then I was a dancer and started as a teacher and choreographer and was running those careers at once. But then as I was phasing out of performing, the teaching and choreography I loved working with kids. It was a huge passion project for me, but the pay was not good. Teachers in America just unless you're like a tenured professor in a university, teachers are grossly underpaid in America. It is very sad. And especially, I wasn't in a school, I was teaching competitive synchronized swimming, so it was like coaching more. The pay was not enough to live off of. So I started working in restaurants to supplement my career as a teacher, essentially, so I could do what I loved. And I did that for 10 years. I worked 2 jobs for 10 years, and that's how I was able to pay off my debt and just live and function in Los Angeles and San Diego, which are 2 extremely expensive cities. I phased out of teaching 2 years ago after 10 years of teaching, and have just been in the restaurant that it's been the same restaurant this whole time since. So that's kind of how I've ended up. I ended up in the role as bartender because I started way back in the day as a server, and then I was a manager for a while, and realizing that managing restaurants sucks. It is not my jam, not what I wanted to be doing. And so I switched to bartending because it was actually more money than managing and way less BS to deal with. So that's sort of the trajectory of how I ended up as a bartender, even though I don't drink alcohol. It was always to support my career as an artist, and I'm very thankful for the opportunities it gave me, but I am very much ready to be done and be giving of myself in a career that I'm much more passionate about, that's much more in alignment with my values, and is something I want to take into the next stretch in life now that I am 40 and not, in my 20s and early 30s and performing. I want something that's going to be the next chapter, so to speak, not just a job. So I've been looking into things. I'm not going to share too much of the process until I'm there with you, but I've got some things in the pipeline right now that I'm looking into, and I will be very excited to share with you when I am done with the job and have a new one to report. So stay tuned for that, but I'm sort of putting my foot down that 2025 100% is the year to be done with this job. And in tandem with that, I am most likely 100%, well, 99% going to be leaving San Diego. I pay $2,400 in rent, and that is stupid. My apartment is beautiful. Many of you got to see my apartment tour, and I'm very thankful for the space that I have. And while I make ends meet fine, I'm still saving some money. To some months, it's really just because I live so minimally and I have so few bills that I'm able to make this work. But for long-term sustainability, I don't want to pay $2,400 in rent. I think it's dumb. And more just on like a soul level, I am nomadic. I have gypsy feet in me. My coach used to say my feet are made of sand. I just want to experience somewhere new. I want to move to a colder climate. I want to have somewhere with seasons, and depending on what job I am able to procure into my life, if it is something remote, I absolutely will be digital nomad and be everywhere. But I am open to the right job coming in that will require me to be more stationary somewhere, but it's a job I'm very passionate about. It could go either way, so we'll see. Stay tuned for that. I will definitely, hopefully sooner rather than later, have an update for you on that. But my lease is up in June of this year, and I have no intention of re-signing it and being trapped in $2,400 of rent again. So I have got the first half of the year to figure this out. So hopefully sooner rather than later, I'll have updates for you on that. And that brings me to my very last intention. This one's a little bit more esoteric and woo-woo, because it would never be an Explorivore video without a little touch of woo for you. This one, I don't want to go too much into it because it's a very deeply personal thing, but just sort of in a nutshell, I want to get more in touch with trust of my body and trust of life or the universe or source, creator, God, whatever your vernacular is for it. With my body, I've done a lot of work for healing over the years, and I've done a lot of work to overcome negative patterning with it, but I think I've just begun hitting the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, I've shared briefly in some videos on my own personal belief of the body's ability to heal with so much more than we give it credit for, and I've got a lot, I think, more on deeper levels that I could connect with on that, whether it's physical healing of ailments or emotional healing or spiritual healing. I think there's just a much deeper connection that is available that I want to tap into, and that's not something I'm not going to necessarily learn intellectually by reading a book. It's going to be doing more inner energy work, so to speak. And because we are part of nature and we are part of existence, I think trusting the body goes hand in hand with trusting life and trusting how things are going to unfold. And I've shared other videos about this too, where there's the leaf blower again. Well, it's background ambient music. I've shared in other videos how I'm starting to tap into that more with trust in life and trust in things happening as they should. But again, I think there's just more deeper unfolding that can happen with that. And I feel this very strong pull to dive into both of those, surrender into both of those, and sort of receive. That word keeps showing up for me in both of those areas, because so much of my life I was just trained to put my head down and bulldoze through things and think that no one's going to help me and I have to do it all myself, and feeling at war with life in certain areas and certain time periods, and then also feeling at war with my own body in other areas. And I really want to work to transcend that this year. And in something deep inside me knows that connection, that deeper connection, is available. And it's, again, I don't think it's a muscling through process to be like, I'm going to figure out how to trust my body and read all these books. And I think it's more of a letting go process and being able to receive and tap into that wisdom that I think is available to all of us. But the modern day and age has sort of severed that cord. So that's going to be the sort of background deep dive I go through all of these other processes as well. And I don't know how much that's a less black and white thing. So I'm not going to have like after 2 months, this thing exactly is going to happen. Like, I have no idea, but it's just going to be a intention and practice that I set on a daily basis as I continue my work in silence, which will be a lot easier being off of the screen a lot more. So, okay, that is my list of intentions for 2025. Let me know if any of these resonated with you and are sort of in alignment with your own goals and intentions, or you might be tacking them onto your own list. And if you want to share in the comments anything that you are setting for 2025, I'm sure myself and others in the community would love to hear it. So yeah, feel free to share. Other than that, thank you for watching, my friends. Happy 2025 to you. I hope this will be a wonderful year of growth and expansion for all of us. Cheers.